All right, hey guys. So we're back here following up here now on the polling we did this morning. Next up here is Chainlink, link to Bitcoin. One of the few examples of a bull move that is underway in crypto that is not looking bad technically, right? So no sooner am I ranting about banging our heads against the wall here in crypto than we've actually got a decent trend underway. Now, obviously, it's counter trend to the entire crypto space, but it's a pretty interesting count actually, and some challenging bits here. So a good choice. Now I've got this is an 8-hour on Binance, where that's where the volume is. So immediately, right, first thing you want to do is put some median lines on it. That's interesting here. We don't quite make the median line there. Now, right, as it's sold off, coming away from that, you know, it's dangerous, right? So the trading principle number 4, a failure to make the move to the median line sets up a move equal to or greater. Well, we'd be down here, we'd be blowing through some of the fib support here. It's kind of interesting. Now, additionally, if and this we can certainly, it's not unreasonable to consider this is a candidate for a 1-2. Well, now here, if we look, same thing, right? So had we gotten to the median line here, we'd have hit the 1-6-1-8. Just would have been just absolutely textbook trade here technically to tap that, but we don't quite have the legs to get there, and now we've had a pretty good pull away from it. So you gotta respect that, and that this could be a failure swing. But I'm not ready to call that yet. But it's worth noting that here, that's, you know, point of caution. So let's pull this off here and see if we can get into the count. Now, of course, that's deep for a 2, but the structure here supports the idea that that's 1-2, and then we've had an impulsive move here. Now, the subdivision is a little tricky. Now, it's interesting. This is a great example of why you need to wick off the key pivots, because that'll help you in terms of, you know, as I will often do, working backwards through the count, so you know where your ones are. So I think let's try this on a 2-hour if I. All right, so coming off of that low, the proposed 2, well, the 1 is a little bit of that's the tricky one here. So you can definitely get, so you definitely have a diagonal here, and then this you can get an ABC into the 2. Now, very hard to get the subdivision here, but you can get, you know, there's a little ABC there. We don't overlap it. It's not great looking, but I can get a 1, 2, 3 here, 4 into a 5. So I can get a 1-2 here. You really, you know, you could have it over here. It's kind of just a, you know, just kind of a mess here. But the broader, I think you can get. I think you're better to go A, B, C into the B. Was that technical? I think this looks pretty close here. So wick. Here's the golden zone. Now they're through. So I think this is a solid 2 here, and that now we can get more impulsive here coming off of this. So if it's 1-2, 1-2, and then again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can get an impulse here into my 3. There's the 4. Now note here we don't threaten the 1. So I can go 1, 2, 3, 4. There's the 5 into the 3. Fairly solid here. Now this is on a lower degree, so we're not on the largest degree. I've got a completed 3. Let's see if I can scrunch this up and get you in context here. Okay, so here's the ABC into the 2. Let me just so you know where you are. Okay, 1, 2, 3, ABC into the 4 here in white. Now this last leg equally also a little tricky to work through the subdivision here. But I do think that this 3, 4 has now completed up here at 5, but good news for bulls, all we've done is complete the 3. Now where's the 4? Right, remains to be seen here, but we've got some reasonable areas to look for support. And again, here I'm just wicking off obvious pivots here, as those are potential areas to look for some support. So if this is the 4, well, we can do it, you know, as we always would. We'll check it relative to the length of the 3. Let's see if I got that just right. So we do have a slight overlap here, right? You can see this little pump wick takes it down. The next one tags the 65. So a little sloppy here. A little sloppy on the 4. Technically, we don't invalidate the 4 because here's the 1. Here's this yellow dash is the 1. So it still plays as a 4. So I recall this was also sloppy here, right? And that we had a break here. We don't make the algo target. So algos, that looks like a section where they were losers on either side. I don't feel bad for them because eventually they always get on the right side of it. Could be here. It looks like they may have gotten on the right side here. So if I grab that low, all right. So here it is, right? Where they got back on. Sooner or later, they'll always get it. Right? They can do it. So there's your 50. There's the first one, second one, and then we get the big one up here. So that one is relative. Well, it's interesting. That's relative to this green here. Let me zoom it back here. Is relative to this pull here that broke by a couple of ticks on that pump wick. How do you explain it? Well, you don't. I can't explain it other than so. Maybe they there's one guy in the market or guy, who knows, right? So you got one firm that's giving that a little more room. That's a pump wick. It's hard to say. Right, but we are never going to know. All we're going to know is where we can identify it. So this is a bit of a conundrum. But then from there, so even if they got stopped out here on the sell, here on the buy, eventually, right, they get locked in with it. So let's keep working through this count. So this is the 3. There's the 4. We got the slop here. There's the target first reaction. So for whatever reason, they stayed with it. There's the reaction. We come right now. Now, this is interesting, and this is part of what will guide you in your count. So this perfect tap here, the fact that we come down and we don't overlap, I mean, it's to the tick, right? That's a tell that most likely that's a 4, right? This is not happening randomly. And you can look at here, all the other wicks here. So again, Elliott aside, you're just looking here, where's prior resistance? Kicks in for the support. For an Elliott count, there's a pretty solid case here that we've got a 1 here. Now the 3, 4, it's not ideal, but it's there. There's an impulse into the 3 here, and I got to open it up here so you can see it. And this would be a good one, actually, a very good one to work through the count. So even if you're watching along here, maybe don't stop and put it on. You just go through it. You're not going to remember it all, and then go back to it. See if you can work through the count yourself. Right? A good one, right? Because it's a couple of spots where you're like, oh, that would have been perfect. So you've got to work around that and find a way to solve the puzzle, right? Within our rule set here, this is the tricky bit here, but it works, right? And it's actually an impulse. The 4 does not overlap the 1. So I can get a 1, A, B, C into the 2. 1, 2, 3. Yep, it's long enough. 4. There's the 5 of the 3. There's a little A, B, C for the 4 here in white. And then the last push up gives us the 5 into the 1 here in green. God, that's annoying. Okay, so back for the 1. Looks like we go A, B, C into the B. So I've got an A, B, C into the 2 here. That looks fairly solid. I don't see another way to count that. So this is from this. So, and then additionally, if we this is the start of it from that 2. So here's the start of the 1 that gets us all the way up here. So we're right where you'd expect it to, between the 50 and the 618. Drops down there a couple of times, testing that zone. Right. Ultimately, we hold here. This pivot holds it. So you've got, again, Elliott aside, prior areas of resistance now kicking in for support, even though it's not to the tick, pretty darn close. So working through that, where would we be? What would we be looking for next? Well, of course, if that's a 1, 2, we're anticipating here that this needs to be our impulse. Now we know the negative 100 will be very close to the 1618, so that's a good shorthand, but it's always good to go through it and just get used to how they move and pulling these swings. So here's the 1618 literally on top of the negative 100. We don't quite mate the 1618, but this is a reasonable spot here for the 3rd. We come up a little short, but not enough to have me rethink that as anything other than the 3rd. Certainly long enough relative to the 1. So it looks like 1, 2, 3. Now this is where it gets a little tricky here, and I'm going to go down to the hourly here. This looks like I can go like I can get the A, B, C, so I've got 3 into my B. It's very, very steep for a B, but we don't overlap the 3. And then it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to give me the C and give me a diagonal. Yep, see? So if I labeled it, we'd be here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into that low. Now that's ridiculously large, but let's get that down to something that would make sense. So we've got an ABC into the C of the 4. Then again, we can go 1 ABC into the 2. Now this is a little trickier here. Where the 1 here. So there's a couple of choices here. So if I open this up, it looks like there's a good 1, 2 here to go 3, 4 into the 3 up here. So I like this better as a 1, 2. So let's get this off of here just to clear up the chart a little bit. So I think this plays better that you're going 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into a 3, 4, and we don't get quite the full move for the 5th, but we get a new high here. So that symmetry is not bad. And so 1, 2, a little deeper, 4, up for the 5. So I think we've got a completed. I think we can get an impulse here into this 5. It's not the prettiest. You've got to dig the 1, 2 here out of it. So this is your 1 here. So to give you the 3, right? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. The extension's in the 5th of the 3rd, down for the 4. Now that's, so if we take the 2 through the 3, right where you'd find like Vegas wave holds it. We're between the 38 and the 50. Some prior resistance here. You can see this little area here where we double top, get a few little pokes, just wicks through it, and then there's the final rip up. But excuse me, it looks like that's just finishing the 3rd of the larger degree. So I've got subdivision to get me there all the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 in my 5. Everything right on track here. So I've got a good contender here with all the subdivision. I can account for it all into a 3 here. Well, now ABC. Now that looks a little bit premature to call the entire correction over. This looks like perhaps. We don't know if the B is in. We've got something along those lines here because this is a clear ABC. So are we going to go ABC? Are we going 1, 2? Well, I can't eliminate that. But if you look at the symmetry here, this is a completed 4 of that larger degree seems less likely to me because of that lack of symmetry. So if I put the whole thing back together, so let's see here, if we can get the whole thing. So 1, 2. If we look at the length of the 2 relative to what would be the 4 here, that seems like we're not quite done there. So the first thought is that since I do have a nice 3, and that could be relabeled. That could be relabeled. This could turn into a 5. There'd be a diagonal. If this has one more leg down. A little premature to really make, lean into anything too hard here because there's too many different ways this could go. So if we zoom here, if that were a 2, 3, 4, the 4 to the 2, not great. So I'm more inclined to at this point, if I had to, I'd be more inclined to go with a W here, and that we're in the process of just working through a corrective wave here to give us an X before we go down for the ABC of the Y, which could put us somewhere over here. So we'd have better symmetry here. Looks like there's a fairly decent channel coming up. So if I'm just working through these lows, take that. Oh, I'm going to use that pivot here, so which would line it up. So they're fairly solid. So just looking here at where we've come. So from this pivot low here. So here's the little poke through the. Got that little pivot right there. So there's the. It's deep, right? So if it's an ABC, that's not uncommon to have the first wave of the correction come to the 50. Now, take note here, we're not correcting the entire 5 wave. I'm just working from this pivot just to get some sense. Could we have another leg on this? Maybe the count, if there is another push, then we might have to rethink that. So just from a dominant swing low to a swing high, I want to pay attention to what happens here. If we're going to bounce here, if that's a good low and we start going again, then I may have to rethink the count. But let's understand what we're potentially pulling from. Oh, let's see. Can I do it on a 4? I may not be able to do it. Let's see. Yeah, I guess I can. Okay, so if the 3 is in, that hot, we want to be pulling from the 2. So look at this lineup. So here's the 4, potentially a good candidate. God damn it. A good candidate here for the Y. If we can get an ABC, no, we don't pull that over here. So median line, why not, right? It's a reasonable spot for it. Now, then the symmetry is going to look a little bit better here. Sorry, guys. Going to look a little bit better here. A, B, or pardon me, 1, 2, 3. So if I can get something along these lines here, B, C, before the drive up here to complete that on the larger degree, nothing says we have to stop up here. Nothing says we need to stop there. Well, you could stay, so you've got that lower channel, and then you've got this channel as well. So if I'm working off of the 2, looks like I can cut right through that. So if I put that right there, not a bad road map. Look pretty good here. We'll have to see what the subdivision looks like. Are we going to get maybe a different breakdown here? If we're going to stay with an ABC, we go ABC. Can we come down here in an ABC? So recognizing the possibility this could get relabeled. It's a little early to be leaning into much there. So here's the, now this is interesting. So if we're coming off of this low here, well, I've got an impulse here. So I have the potential now, and the preference would be that this stays as an impulse, right? So in other words, we're not going to overlap this 1. So you have to think about that and say, well, this is going to be important here as to whether or not we stay above that 1. All right, that would change the complexion here, and maybe we have to reconsider the whole thing, that maybe this is all just an A, B, and a big C. So let's put that in yellow. If we're going to go into a diagonal, right, that wouldn't kill the bullish potential here. If this were just going to be, we'd have to rework it into an A, B, into a C, so if we were going to have a diagonal. So we could do that, right? Larger A, B, C would come down here, and then we'd finish up for the 5. So it's still a contender. So this will be a key pivot here as to what happens. First, assuming we follow this roadmap, right? So let's not get ahead of ourselves, but that will be kind of interesting as to whether that's to tell. Now, remember, if it's a diagonal, we want to pull, we also, of course, want to check from all the way back, from the low here, if it's going to go into a diagonal, and that would put your 4, a candidate, down here closer to the 50. If that's going to go into a diagonal, right? No reason to assume that just yet, right? Because I can get an impulse here. I could end up as an ABC, but until we break that, no reason to assume it. So that would be your key pivot. So that if you're trading this, I hope you are, if you're into crypto, so I would certainly want to put an alert there so that I know about that. Right, just to be reminded, because if it's going to come that close, if I'm going to get to that 38, I know I can be a buyer there with a very tight stop. So that would be ideal, right? I can, if we get there, tight stop, because if it's breaking that, then it could easily come down here to this 50, could go lower. Then maybe we're back looking at that set of median lines, going, maybe there was something else I should have been paying attention to. So just to put it for the final reassembly, if we come back to this, right, look where the lower parallel would be. Well, pardon me, it would be right here. That's the channel. So maybe we get something truncated. Maybe this ends up being a 5. We get a 3, truncated C. Hard to know. Right, come down here, challenge that. Now that we're at the 38, there's the 4. The WXY could certainly work there. We don't have to go break into a significant low here. So a couple of areas to really keep an eye on in terms of where's the next opportunity. I think it's too soon to be a buyer here. Be my view, right? That you just don't have, oh God, I just did this on the Ripple, but you could think of it this way. So if you just want to think about symmetry and you just were comparing the 2 to the 4, if I clone that, all right, so you want It doesn't have to be exactly the same, right? And there's the rule of alternation, but the symmetry here, can I do that? Ah, fuck. Can't do, well, you get the basic gist of it. It sure doesn't look like we're done here. Even if we got half of it, half of the length of time of the two, which would not be uncommon. So I'm just eyeballing there. Maybe that's approximately half of it. A, B, C, simple here, perhaps complex here. Wait for that tendency for alternation between the 2 and 4. This will be a key pivot. This is a key. Well, you know, you could just do this. Let's just get it up here and just draw it across. All right, so this resistance, support. We're going up, support again. Here's the next buy that I'd be looking at right there. So let's pull this off. All right, so we come down here, right? Very low risk. All right, you could damn near put the stop just on the other side of that. But if if you're looking for a way to get in and maintain a position, you could give that a little more room. I don't know that I'd go much beyond the 50 here. But if you get that opportunity, if it's offered down here, I would wait. I'd wait to get more clarity as to where you are in the correction so we can identify what we have here. Now, there's been a pretty good reaction off of it. So my best estimate, we're in the X wave here rather than the correction being completed. So I'd wait for that. But I sure would want to know when we got there as a potential buying opportunity. All right, guys, I'll give you something to work with. Now, if you're going along with this, just pull up a blank chart. See how far you can get with it. See if you can work through the rule set and get a count similar. Right? It doesn't have to be exactly like mine. I'm never here to tell you that mine is the right count. It's a technically valid count. At least I hope so. I think so. I've worked through all the subdivision here, but there's likely more than one way to count something like this. So see what you come up with. All right, guys. Talk to you later.